On electoral matters now, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has warned that Nigeria's presidential election scheduled for late February could be cancelled or postponed if the current level of insecurity persists in the country. Abdullahi Zero, one of the heads of the INEC, postponement of the elections in several constituencies to prevent the announcement of results. He said such a scenario could cause a constitutional crisis, hence the need to avoid it at all costs. He therefore stressed that all security forces. We move now to the judiciary, where a Yola High Court presided over by Justice Muhammad Danladi has sacked Senator Ishaku Abo as the APC senatorial candidate for Adamawa North Senatorial Zone for this year's elections. The court sacked Senator Abo. Justice Danladi held that the senator and APC are bound by the resolution of the All Progressives Congress APC Mobi North Local Government Chapter's executive, expelling him from the party on the 7th of October. Moving forward in bicycle robbers to 28 years in prison. The convicts Nsikan Tom, 28, and Augustine Gregory, 27, were sentenced for robbing a passenger while trying to board a tricycle at Okokonetok Street in Uyo. The convicts Nsikan Tom, an integer Uyo, robbed the victim of his Lenovo laptop and Journey M5 phone on August 7, 2016. The presiding judge, Justice Okonokon, sentenced the convicts to 21 years, found them guilty of 2 out of the 3 counts of conspiracy, armed robbery, and membership of a secret cult. And elsewhere, 9 persons arrested and detained. Names are Adeshina Muiwa, Ikechukwu Eze, Ariyo Sadiq, Ikenna Amechi, Oyewole Olumide, Ariyo Afis, Taurid Abiodun, Adekunle Muruth, and Police Station Ablaze, among others, in connection to the 2020 protests against the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad unit of the Nigerian Police Force. It could be recalled that barely 3 months ago, that about 39 persons were arrested in connection to the NSAS protest were still languishing in prison. In politics now, the Labour Party LP presidential candidate Peter Obi said today that Nigeria's presidential seat is too important to be used as a retirement benefit. Obi made the statement at a town hall meeting with the members of Anambra State Traditional Rulers Council in Oka. Obi, who enumerated the powers of a president in the socio-economic and political situations, cautioned Nigerians against electing the wrong person as president on February 25th. He blamed Obi said the country would leapfrog from consumption to production. Most of the inherent problems would reduce. In another development, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Temipura Sylvia, has said the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is selling premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, at a loss because of its mandate from the federal government as regards PMS subsidy. Sylvia's comment came as all marketers stated that the supply hitches in the petrol subsidy in that month. The petroleum minister, while speaking in Abuja at the resumption of the scorecard series 2015 to 2023 of the President Muhammadu Buhari, insisted that subsidy had been a burden, but stressed that it was a mandate on NNPC, which had made the oil firm to continue selling PMS at a loss. Recall that the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, had said the federal government had budgeted about 3.6 In education now, the Association of of Tutorial Schools ATS has said that the 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination candidates might experience pain and stress this year following the reduction in the number of computer-based centers across the country by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board (JAM). The JAM Registrar, Professor Isaac Oluyede, announced the reduction when he met with commissioners for education across the country in Ikeja, Lagos. It was gathered that JAM reduced the centers for reasons such as poor facilities, failure of compliance with guidelines from the board, and involvement in examination malpractice, amongst others. Meanwhile, the Federal Operations Unit (FOU) of the Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) has said it impounded contraband goods with duty-paid value (DPV) worth 13.9 billion naira in 2022. This came as state and border stations with underpayment of accruable duty. Speaking at a press briefing in Lagos, Custom Area Controller (CAC) of the unit, Hussein Ejibono, disclosed that the unit arrested 176 suspects during the year alongside 7 convicts who were charged to court at various stages of investigation. In another development, the Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS) has dismissed 4 personnel while demoting 14 others over corruption charges. The NIS spokesperson Tony Akuneme disclosed that, adding that the said personnel faced the room trial committee of the NIS. Also, 11 personnel were issued warning letters while 1 was compulsorily retired. According to the committee, 11 personnel are still awaiting trial. He also urged members of the public to be vigilant while supporting the NIS in delivering more on its mandate. In the maintenance process of corruption, the bids for 24 units of luxury flats located in Banana Island in the highbrow Ikoyi area of Lagos State have failed. At the commencement of the bidding exercise held at the Convocation Square of the National Open University headquarters in Abuja, a bidder who turned in the highest bid of 13 bidders, including the Nigerian Army Welfare Limited by Guarantee and the Lagos State Development and Property Corporation, made offers of 2.4 billion naira and 4 billion naira respectively, which according to the commission did not meet the preserved amount for the properties. Consequently, the secretary to the commission, George Ekponku, announced a new deadly ambushed and killed 7 officers of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) at the Kuriga mining site in the burning Wari local government area of Kaduna State. The NSCDC Director of Public Relations, Olushola Odumosu, in a statement today said the officers were attached to the Kaduna State Ministry of Mines and were on official duty at the Kuriga mining site when the incident occurred. Odumosu stated that rifles belonging to the slain officers were carted away by the assailants, adding that remains of the slain officers had been deposited. And elsewhere, the Nigerian Police Force has said that it will arrest a yet-to-be-identified man for sharing a substance suspected to be marijuana with an infant in a viral video. In the video posted on Twitter by a user, Ikeoku Chidozie, the man is seen smoking what looks like a wrap of marijuana and then forcing it into the mouth of the drug law enforcement agency and other security agencies, calling for the arrest of the man in the video. We move now to Delta State, where the state government has denied the reports that it denied the Labour Party the use of a venue to hold its presidential campaign rally in Asaba. Commissioner for Information Charles Anayogu stated this at a press briefing today in Asaba, describing the allegation as cheap lies and Peter Obi access to any venue for campaign rally. according to him, with barely 10 minutes after approving the Oshimili Arcade in Asaba and granting the Labour Party the necessary waiver, the party ran to social media to say it was denied a venue. 9 portfolios. A minor cabinet reshuffle in 2 ministries led to Eric Anderson taking over as the Commissioner for Information and Orientation. Among the newly appointed is Adamu Musa, who becomes the first non-indigenous Muslim to be appointed a commissioner in the state. The other newly sworn-in commissioners their portfolios are Kwele Egube, Sustainable Development, Sunday Awara, Social Housing, Wogo Umari, Homeland Security, Hippolytus Lupata, Water Resources. And back here, residents of Uyo in Akwa Ibom State capital have lamented the deadline set by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) for the use of old notes as legal tender. Speaking with a correspondent on the level of do not have access to them. They also complained of the physical looks of the Naira notes, adding that it appears counterfeit.
The print is not really solid enough. Like if you see the 500 Naira bill, it's like an apology compared to the old note. But the 1,000 bill is okay.
And it was announced, right, when it was passed into law, right, that the new currency note should be issued. It's supposed to take effect. It's supposed to take effect immediately. Saving boxes.
I'm not seeing it. I don't have access to it, but I heard of it. So maybe they are not doing it up to. It's not enough. Yes, because if it is enough, it would have been circulated. Because I hope many people are not having access to it.
I've not really seen it. It's very scarce. You can't really get it. I'm in a public environment on transport, but I've not seen it in circulation. That line is one of the indications to show that that's the original. But the bottom line of this very new currency is that it looks very
level. They are being given old banknotes. So where does the policy of having new banknotes lie? Where are we going to get the new banknote? Even when the banks, if you are withdrawing, for example, if you're drawing 300,000 naira, the new banknote will be given maybe 2,000 or 3,000. So it boils down to the fact that the new banknote is not in circulation. The deadline should be extended to maybe July, June, so that all Nigerians will be given ample opportunity to get abreast of the new Naira notes and have a thought.
Recall that the Central Bank of Nigeria had announced January 31st, 2023 as a deadline set for old notes to be used or deposited at banks. The CBN has ordered commercial banks not to pay signed notes to ensure proper circulation ahead of January 31. And still to come in the news, global economy to fall into recession in 2023. Do stay with us. Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian, from issues on politics,
hello Nigeria, I remain committed.
Security,
education, health,
lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken
every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Many thanks for still being there. Now to the rest of the stories. In Africa, 5 suspects in Kenya who appeared in court have been accused of involvement in the death of a prominent LGBTQ campaigner. The body of Edwin Kiprotu, popularly known as Edwin Chiloba, was found stuffed in a metal box on a roadside in western Kenya. The family of the victim insisted on justice. According to Kenya's National Commission on Human Rights, Chiloba's death followed the unsolved murders of several other human rights advocates. And still in Kenya, where Airways says it is experiencing flight disruptions as a result of delays in getting parts for aircraft maintenance. The airline's chief executive, Alan Kilavuka, said the airline has found it difficult to get components required for some of its aircraft undergoing maintenance. He said the airline could be forced to cut some flights should the challenges persist. He blamed the Russia-Ukraine war for the problem, which he said has crippled the supply chain of Russia raw materials crucial in the aviation industry. And still in Africa, the Senegalese government has announced new measures to fight against road insecurity, including a ban on night bus trips and the import of second-hand tires after an incident that killed 39 people. Other measures prohibiting the importation of second-hand tires have also been made mandatory, including the sealing of speedometers of vehicles transporting people and goods at 90 kilometers per hour. Reports say that road accidents kill not less than 700 people every year in Senegal, a West African country of more than 17 million inhabitants. And moving away from that, Rwandan President Paul Kagame says his country will no longer offer refugee to people fleeing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Decades of instability in the east of the country have forced scores of refugees across the border into Rwanda. The presidency has shared Kagame's remark in a tweet. He said the rest of the world had completely missed the point when it came to eastern DR Congo. According to reports, the real threat to security, in his view, is what he describes as the remnants of Hutu extremist forces who tried to wipe out his Tutsi ethnic group in the 1994 genocide. Rwanda is being accused of backing the M23 rebel group, which the country has always denied. Meanwhile, the rebel group has captured swaths of territories in recent months, sending tens of thousands of refugees across the border into Rwanda. Meanwhile, newly appointed Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Kang has arrived in Ethiopia to kick off a week-long tour to 5 African countries. He was welcomed in the capital Addis Ababa today by his Ethiopian counterpart, Demeke Mekonnen. Qin, who until recently was ambassador to the US, became the foreign minister in late December. He's expected to meet senior African Union officials during his trip in Ethiopia and visits the Chinese-funded headquarters for the continent's Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Addis Ababa. Qin will thereafter proceed to Gabon, Angola, Benin, and Egypt. China is a major trading partner with African countries. In another development, Malawi's government has made an appeal for support to fight a cholera outbreak that has so far killed hundreds of people. The outbreak began in March 2020. The government appealed for support in medical supplies and support to school sanitation facilities. It also appealed for chlorine, oral rehydration salts, and cash. But the announcement has been criticized for urging potential donors to contact the national coordinator through a Gmail address instead of an email address with a government domain. And elsewhere, Egyptian authorities have refloated a cargo vessel that ran around the Suez Canal. Shipping agency had earlier said that MV Glory had ran aground near the northeastern city of El Kantra. It later said that it had It had been refloated by the Suez Canal authorities. Tugboats and 21 vessels would resume their transit through the channel, with minor delays expected. According to reports, the vessel was lasted as carrying over 65,000 metric tons of grains from Ukraine bound for China. In 2021, a giant container ship, the Ever Given, blocked the canal, disrupting global trade. The Suez Canal is a vital waterway that connects the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, providing an avenue for vessels to pass between Asia and the Middle East and Europe. In the meantime, Amnesty International has urged the Algerian authorities to overturn death sentences against dozens of people over the lynching of a man falsely accused of starting forest fires. Amnesty said 5 of the 54 people who were convicted last November received their sentences in absentia and included a woman. A further 28 people were sentenced to between 2 and 10 years, while another 17 were acquitted over the lynching of Jamel Ben Ismail, who had gone to help fight the fires. Report says locals falsely accused Ismail of starting fires himself and attacked him, torturing and burning him before taking his body to the village square. We move to South Africa now, where the regional force fighting militant Islamists in Mozambique is carrying out an investigation after a video surfaced showing people wearing army uniforms setting ablaze corpses, furniture, and groceries. The video shows 2 soldiers throwing a corpse onto the side of a bonfire of burning rubbish. One of them then throws liquid over the body and the flames spread. Reports say another body is already on the pile of items but has not yet caught alight. Meanwhile, 2 men in army fatigues holding mobile phones appear to be filming the fire. One of them has the South African flag on his uniform. Meanwhile, Uganda's constitutional court has quashed sections of a communications law that had been used to prosecute journalists and critics of the government. The judges ruled that prohibiting people from using electronic communication to disturb the peace of others curtailed freedom of speech. Reports say punishments for offenders ranged from a fine to a jail term. Meanwhile, writer Kagwanza Rukai and the academic Stella Nyanzi were among activists who were either being charged or convicted under the law. And elsewhere, a suspected warlord from Sierra Leone has appeared in an appeals court in Finland, accused of atrocities in Liberia's civil war. A retrial was ordered after Gabriel Massakou was acquitted by a lower court last year. Reports say the trial will move to Liberia next month and then to Sierra Leone. Massakou was arrested in Finland in 2020, accused of murder, rape, and other war crimes. He was a senior commander in the Revolutionary United Front, a Sierra Leonean rebel group that also fought in Liberia. On the foreign scene, German police today began removing climate activists perched precariously on high structures as they embarked on a dangerous operation to evacuate a protest camp that has become a symbol of resistance against fossil fuels. A village in North Rhine-Westphalia state was once home to around 100 people, but has been abandoned over the years as uncertainty hung over its planned evacuation for the expansion of the neighboring gold mine. Reports say since the last resident, a farmer, packed up and left in October 2022, the village has been turned over to around 2,000 anti-coal activists who are trying to prevent the site from being dug up for coal. Meanwhile, the activists have built barricades and dug trenches to stop police getting in. Some are also swinging on hammocks erected high up above ground. Still on the foreign scene, several classified documents from President Joe Biden's time as vice president were discovered last fall in a private office. Attorney General Merrick Garland has asked the U.S. while closing out a Washington, D.C.-based office. The Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement that Biden used as part of his relationship with the University of Pennsylvania, where he was honorary professor from 2017 to 2019. The White House is cooperating with the National Archives and the Department of Justice regarding the discovery of what appears to be Obama-Biden administration records, including a small number of documents with classified markings. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. Here is Blyden Ukem.
Good evening. It is another business day and my name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, we begin with World Bank reports. As global economy is set to fall into recession in 2023 according to World Bank. The global economy is perilously close to falling into recession according to the latest forecast from the World Bank. The World Bank expects the global economy to grow just 1.7% this year, a sharp decrease from 3% it predicted in June. The report blames a number of factors stemming from Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the impact of the pandemic, as well as higher interest rates. According to World Bank President David Malpass, the downturn would be broad-based and growth in people's earnings in almost every part of the world would be slower than it was during the decade before COVID-19. The 1.7% growth figure would be the lowest since 1991, with the exceptions of the recession of 2009 and 2020, which were caused by the global financial crisis and the COVID pandemic. In $70 per ton, the highest level since mid-February, supported by supply concerns and low inventories. Investors worry that dry weather in the Ivory Coast could reduce the size of the maize crop by the world's top producer. At the same time, ICE monitor New York cocoa inventories decline to an 8.5-month low, and stockpiles held in EU ports were close to a 9-month low. The International Cocoa Organization said the 2021-2022 cocoa season ended with a supply deficit of 306,000 tons, and growing conditions for the main crop of the 2022-2023 season were generally good in West Africa, suggesting the region's production would remain solid even as farmers continue to struggle with the lack of fertilizers and pesticides due to the war in Ukraine. According to reports, the demand outlook was uncertain because of a slowing global economy, rising raw material prices, and high energy costs in Europe, the leading region for cocoa processing. According to FCA reports, UK fines GT Bank again. Financial watchdog has penalized the UK unit of Nigeria's Guarantee Trust Bank £7.6 million, an equivalent of $9.3 million for money laundering. According to a statement today, the FCA said the fine was imposed due to the failures in GT Bank's anti-money laundering systems and control. The FCA noted it found serious weaknesses in systems aimed at preventing highlighted to GT Bank by internal and external sources, including the FCA, but GT Bank failed to take appropriate action to fix them. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. At the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the benchmark All-Share Index shed 246.46 basis points, an equivalent of a negative day. Today's data shows 51% improvement in volume, 185% improvement in turnover, and 7% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 28 trillion naira. And in aggregate, 110 listed equities with 9.43% share price appreciation, closing at 1 naira 16 kobo per share. On the losing side, NEM Insurance Company came out last with an end-of-day price appreciation of 10% at 4 naira and 5 kobo per share. First Bank Nigeria Holdings recorded bank with 25.5 million traded shares. This is all on business news.
Thank you very much, Blyden. And still to come in the news. Striker moves on in AO qualifying. Do stay with us.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian, from issues on politics,
Hello, Nigeria.
health,
lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken
every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Thanks for still being there. In health, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors (NAD) has warned of an imminent nationwide industrial disharmony over some unresolved issues. NAD said the unresolved issues are threatening industrial peace and harmony in the health sector. In a statement by its president, Emeka Oji, NADing issues, NAD raised the alarm in the statement addressed to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, Secretary to the Government of the Federation SG Abbas Mustafa, and the Department of State Services DSS. In sports now, next gen ATP second consecutive year after defeating German veteran Cedric Marcel Stabs 63-64 at Melbourne Park on Tuesday. The 20-year-old, who fell to Australian veteran Matthew Ebden in the second round of AO qualifying last year, is yet to reach the final round of qualifying at the major. Striker came up big in pressure moments, converting 5 of his breakpoint chances and saving 6. Passaro 22 defeated 37-year-old Czech Lukas Rosol, and 21-year-old Mattia Belusi enjoyed a 63-64 win over Chinese Taipei's Wen Tunglin. And still in sports now, the Golden prepares to return from an 11-game absence. Curry has not played since suffering a left shoulder subluxation against the Indiana Pacers on December 14, and after dropping 3 of the first 4 games without their 2-time MVP, they steadied the ship and went 65. The reigning NBA career high 6.6 rebounds per game while shooting a blistering 43.4% on a gaudy 11.3 points attempt per contest. After starting the season 3-7, the Warriors have recovered to 20-20 and should be at close to full strength when the Warriors currently occupy the 7th seed in the congested Western Conference, only 1 game behind the 5th-seeded Sacramento Kings 20-18, but also only a half game ahead of the 10th-seeded Portland Trail Blazers 19-20. At the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, the American tactician is full of optimism and is confident that his team can go far in the global tournament, but insists they have to take it one step at a time to achieve greatness. Reports say everyone survived a huge scare at the 12th Women Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, even though the team finished in 4th place, thereby picking the last automatic ticket from Africa to Australia and New Zealand. Nigerians saw it as a disappointing outing, and rightly so. Adebayo, better known as Mr. Macaroni, has called on Nigerians to be wary of politicians offering money in exchange for votes. Mr. Macaroni's admonition was contained in a post via his verified Twitter handle today. According to him, politicians offering money in exchange for votes are not going to serve Nigerians but are only investing. He also said that the nation's treasury rightfully belongs to the people. Has apologized after sparking an uproar in Ghana over a music video filmed in the country's presidential palace, also called Jubilee House. It could be recalled that local media had reported that people were enraged over what they viewed as the music video in such a high-profile building. The video was reportedly first posted on McMill's Instagram account on Sunday, according to the news site Ghana Web. On Monday, the rapper tweeted an apology to Ghanaians and the presidency. Your YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Janice Cobham. To enjoy the rest of our programs.